my older daughter, she had some issues with another girl at school. And rather than call the school or make threats, I thought, let's find another way to handle this. And I invited the other mother and the daughter to come have tea with me and my daughter. And we all sat down and I said, you guys are going to be in school together for, however many more years. Let's not make it tense. You don't have to be best friends, but there's enough stress with homework and boys. Let's take that off the table. And then we sort of ended up having a really nice afternoon and it diffused it.
I think it's about looking at the bully, it's, of course, help the people who are bullied, but we need to look at the bullies because they are hurting. They're bullying because somehow they are hurting. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And somehow it's about opening our hearts to the bullies for a minute, It's like that episode of Glee or the Glee subplot about the kid who bullies the other kid and he ends up being gay himself and then he tries to kill himself.
Right.
I mean, no, I'm not kidding. I mean, it really breaks my heart.
It's heartbreaking.
It's almost like more heartbreaking for the bullier.
Right. That's interesting.
It's a problem. And, I think it's a problem. It's a community problem. It exists when individuals let it exist. Mm-hmm. And it really just takes one person to say that's not okay. Mm-hmm. And if one person says it, then another person feels comfortable enough to say it. Right. And then two more. It builds exponentially. Right. It's an extension of adolescent immaturity and insecurity and all that other stuff. It's just, it's what little kids do.
Right.
I mean, it's what adults do. Donald Trump's a bully. I
Yes.
mean, it's like there's plenty of examples of adult bullies in our lives.
Right.
Rush Limbaugh's a bully. You know what I mean? There are bullies in the world.
Right.
But and of course the only way to stop it is to stand up to it. And I remember being a teacher. If I ever saw it, it was. And I'm always been 6'2" and big enough, and I can lean on a little kid and say cut it out.
Right. Yeah.
Stop doing that.
Right.
And stick them in the corner and separate them and say that's not okay. And that's my job as an adult in the world of children.
We just see eye to eye, me and my wife, and it's really, honestly, every relationship I had before meeting my wife was always a struggle. It was always, we just didn't click on things, and it was hard, and it makes it so hard when you can be with somebody in a room and know what they're thinking, and they can finish a sentence for you. You just know where they're going with things, and it's just it's.
Are there any little tips? Like my tip, I've been married 35 years to Phil, and people ask me all the time, do you have any tips? And I say, well, one tip is we actually listen to each other.
Right. That's another.
So he knows how I feel. I know how he feels. So do you have any little tips?
I still got to work on that, by the way. Because as soon, when they're talking, I'm always going, I got to get my point in. I got to get it in. I got to get it in. Don't forget. You're going to forget. Don't make.
Definitely be less focused on the things that I don't like in my life and totally focus on the things that I do. And that means being more giving, but in little ways. Little teeny ways with people every day, sort of that wanting to be kind, but whether it's I'm going to get a cup of coffee and asking the security guard if he wants one, or something that's just a little teeny kindness throughout the days that don't get recognized.
Yeah.
But I just got to say it on television.
No, but it's true. Little pieces of kindness, it's everything. So one of the biggest problems for the summer is how do we get our dog into the crate? And since this is the Best Western pet travel expert, you're going to show us how.
I'm going to show you some steps. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So never put a dog in a crate without walking first, because you want him to go in there tired, right? Number two, never leave a dog with a leash inside the crate.
Oh, right, because you get strangled.
You can get strangled, exactly. Do not feel sorry when you're going to practice leaving the dog in the crate, because you want him to feel comfortable about it. This is a team effort. So open the door, you feel comfortable. Do not bring the dog all the way in, otherwise he won't know how he got in there. So you present them in there and let him do the rest. Right? Do not close the door right away until he feels relaxed and comfortable. There you go. He's going to tell you, now I am comfortable, now you can close the door.
That's great.
Okay? And the final is you move away without saying, I'll be right back. Because a lot of people like to say, I'll be right back. Just walk away, right? So that way you leave that energy behind. Because it's all about the energy and the body language. It's not what you say. It's not what you say. They have no idea if you speak in Spanish or English. But they definitely know how you feel when you left. So then when you walk away, you can make a movement. You stay there, then you walk away. 15 minutes later, you can come back to the crate. So he sees that you came back, but he can't get out. Not because you came back, he has to expect that you're gonna get him out of the kennel. Because a lot of times, as soon as they see you, they're gonna start whining and crying and barking. So this way, you will go away and come back and practice that activity over and over. Right, so this way he knows how to adapt himself inside the kennel.
Any tips on keeping a sex life interesting after 15 years of a monogamous marriage?
Make it a surprise every time you have it. Don't have any expectations. Don't ask yourself, how am I feeling, how am I doing, what am I getting out of it. Sex is a spontaneous experience of life, and it literally demands that you be vulnerable, that you be natural, and that you are in the timeless domain. If you're looking at your watch while having sex, then it's not sex.
What do you suggest for couples who are having interpersonal sexual incompatibilities?
First of all, you have to identify, when you say incompatibilities, is that hunger, desire, frequency? Is it style? It's not one thing. And if it's hunger and if it's desire, that can be reignited if you can get through some of the shame elements, which may be there for one of them.
Right.
Or if you can find what really triggers someone. In other words, everybody's had trigger fantasies, things that like got them riled up at some stage of their life. I don't care who they are. If you can open up and find out the core of what that fantasy is, and you can start to relive the emotion of that fantasy with your partner, it's an interesting thing. If you're in a peak state and you're excited about something and you see your partner, and you're in a peak state and you see your partner, peak state, see your partner, pretty soon when you see your partner, you're going to peak state. But if you come home from work and it's been a rough time at work and you're really, really tough, and you come and you're in a bad state and your partner's trying to cheer you up, but they're not successful because you're in such a bad state, and they're bad state, see your face, bad state, see your face, bad state, see your face. Pretty soon when they see their face, they're going to go on with the wrong partner.
Right.
Sexuality is like anything else. It's driven by human emotion. So I'd identify, is it frequency? Is it style? Is it shame? Is it feeling like you're not paying enough attention? Don't make it that we're just incompatible, because when you make up that story, incompatible means it won't work.
Right.
You need a story that says we love and worship each other. We're going to find a way to light each other up sensually, sexually, as much as we can in any other area.
That's great.
The two big changes that have happened since I started the fitness industry.
Right.
One is core training. There's much more understanding
Yes.
now about the importance of working your core, which means, you know, your stomach, your back, your hips, your pelvis, the part that makes us able to function. Part of doing that asks us to work out on unstable surfaces. You know, there's the BOSU, there's
Right.
all different kinds of wobbly surfaces that they put you on, trainers in gyms, for example. And so you do your bicep curls or whatever you're doing while you're on an unstable surface. And,
Do you like that? I mean, do you approve of that?
Well, I have a fake knee and a fake hip, so I don't do it that much anymore. But when I did, I found it very good because I'm challenged in the balance department.
yeah.
And what it recruits muscles that we don't often use. The smaller kinds of muscles, the connective muscles that are, as you get older, if those muscles aren't strong, you pay for it in terms of functionality.
Well, how do you keep from being hungry? Do you eat carbs or not?
I try not to eat carbs, but I sometimes do. You know, it's about portion and it's about mindfulness. It's not like you can never cheat, but you have to know this
Yeah.
is bad for me,
Right.
right? And so if I wanted a candy bar, I would either take a bite. Sometimes I could take a bite and go, okay, I'm done. This is the first year that my kids didn't have to hide the Halloween candy from me.
Oh, really?
They usually really hide it.
Wow.
Like hide it well, you know?
So what's your, what do you do for a substitute for the craving?
Like I've been looking at those Hershey's Kisses since I came in.
Oh, I should have moved.
No, I'm just saying that now normally if I had been here, I would have had 4 or 5 already,
Right,
6 maybe.
right.
But I'm going to take one when
Okay.
we're done as the
Right.
treat. And
Okay.
then, right, so it's like not defying yourself, is that the right word?
Denying.
Denying yourself what you want, but just not going over what you
Right,
need.
right.
And also, this is something that a doctor told me that I thought was very interesting. Hunger cravings pass in 2 minutes. 90 seconds to 2 minutes.
That's interesting.
So if you can, for 2 minutes,
Distract yourself.
talk yourself out of it.
Right. What's your trick for staying fit with such a busy schedule? Do you have a set time you don't allow anything to interfere with? How do you do it? I'm a mess about this.
Tina, I hear you. It is not easy. The only trick there is to make it part of your schedule. And for me, the only way to do that is to do it before the rest of my family is up. So I get up early.
That's great.
I get up early. I do it at 5:30. I do it at 5 if I have to. But I have little kids, and I have to be finished by the time I want to feed the first one and get lunches made and breakfast made and dressed to take them to school and out the door. And it's not always pretty. And if kids are sick all night, I skip. And but here's my one real rule. You can never miss more than a week. If you miss 8 days instead of 7, it starts to be something that you used to do instead of something that you are doing. It has to be such a habit that if you miss a day, you really don't miss the next day. You have to really prioritize it.
My trainer always says, just do anything. You go up the stairs twice.
Yeah.
Just do something every day.
My parents' divorce was really a curveball, like in the greatest way, and getting through something like that. And it was the first time I remember thinking, "Oh, life is different. Life is."
How old were you?
9. I was 9, and this is painful, and this is not going away, you know. And so there was something about having to overcome that heartbreak. It was really a big heartbreak, especially when you love your parents so much, and they were, in my opinion, really great together. And so, you know, out of that, I think it's where my sense of humor kind of flourished, and trying to, you know, just bring joy into the house as much as possible where there was so much sadness. So that was a big turning point for me in curveball in terms of knowing how to, and at a young age, how to be strong when someone was weak, or, you know, hold them up when they couldn't hold themselves up.
Right. Can you name a few fear-busting tips that you use on a regular basis?
I'm a big believer in fear busting. I don't like there to be anything I'm afraid of.
Right.
So from the time I was a little kid, I was scared about a lot of stuff when I was a kid, and so I systematically went about trying to eliminate fear.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Tell us. I want to know. I'm scared of everything.
Well, from the time I was, when my dad died when I was 10, I sort of became, you know, I was fearful of the world. And so I started just like preparing myself for disaster. So I started taking survival courses as a teenager.
Aww,
I know.
That's so sweet.
I started working to earn my own money when I was like 11.
In case your mother went broke.
Yes, basically.
I see.
And just to be able to support myself and to kind of, you know, give myself the confidence that I knew how to operate in the world. And even now, like the last thing I was really afraid of was public speaking in front of large crowds, like thousands of people. So I, about 5 or 6 years ago, started making speeches like on weekends, traveling to universities and stuff, just to get rid of that. I don't like that sensation in your stomach of fear.
How many years did you work at breaking into the business before you got a real break? Did you ever consider giving up?
My first big break was probably Best in Show, because that's when I kind of burst through being somebody that nobody knew, but I was making a living. I was making a respectable living. To somebody that you could now maybe put a name to the face.
So how long until you got to there?
Oh, that was 2000. I was 40. So I had worked, you know, pretty consistently up until then.
For like 20 years?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Since I got out of college, which was in '84.
Right.
Did I ever want to give up? No. I remember one moment, though. I was hiking up Runyon Canyon, and I got to the top of it, and I met up with a friend. And I said, I think I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And she said, you got to keep going. You know, you're great. And she's an actress too. And I said the same to her. And I said, you keep going too. And so she passed me, and I went down. By the time I was down the hill, I was back in the business.
I want to know if extreme stress can cause loss of memory, appetite, motor functions, and concentration, or could it be something more? Oh, so she's wondering if stress is the reason for these things.
Well, memory, appetite, motor function, concentration, these are classic signs of someone who's stressed out.
Right.
The first thing you'd always do is make sure that stress is not causing it. Right. And then after you've dealt with the stress, through meditation, which is how I deal with it, whatever trick you may have, then you can resort to looking for more profound reasons. Because, you know, thyroid problems will cause this.
Right.
There are other medical issues. But before you're looking for medical problems, deal with the easy stuff. Go to the bathroom. Don't go to the bathroom, literally. Just go sit in the bathroom. Close the lid of the toilet, sit there. No one will bother you there.
Right.
It gives you 5 minutes. 5 minutes to think about gratitude, which drives happiness. 5 minutes to just take a deep breath, the belly breathing that we always used to take when we were kids and we forget to take.
Right.
Deep breath in, push the belly out, the opposite of what you normally do. Exhale and suck your belly button back towards your spine. That deep belly breathing, which is the foundation of so many mystic religions, of yoga, of many spiritual practices, is profoundly important. If you just do that, take nothing away from our conversation today, you'll be a healthier person.
My greatest life lesson I got from my mom, and she was like, if you're okay with people not liking you, you won't have a problem being yourself.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But if you have an issue with people not liking you, then you will run with the pack.
Yeah, yeah.
And so to me, it was always like, oh, okay. I'm okay with people don't like what I think or what I say.
That's great, especially for a celebrity. Well, a person in the public, I mean, you can't please everybody and trying to, but people do try.
Well, you do try, but you have to first, I think, know who you are.
Yeah.
And it's taken a little while for me to really sort of settle on, okay, oh, this is it. Oh, okay, this is me, and it's always going to be this.
Yeah. How long were you an unemployed actor before you got your first great role, and what did you do to survive? Well, you told us you drove a taxi, you were a doorman.
Yeah, doorman. I colored baby pictures. I sold mutual funds. I was a clown in front of gas stations.
I bet you were good at that.
I was very good. I would dance out in the hot sun for 8 hours a day.
How old were you?
Like 22, 23,
Wow.
24, something like that. And I didn't know about makeup. I just put a white circle here around my eye and a big red thing around my lips.
Right.
So I danced in the sun for 8 hours, took the makeup off. I was all red except for 2 white circles here and a big white circle. And I rode home in the subway looking like a clown. And I couldn't get it off my face. I had to wait for it to just go away naturally.
God, that must have been a hard job.
It took about 9 years before I was making a living as an actor.
My mom, believe it or not, who is not a pushy stage mom at all, used to tell us to let them know you're there.
That's
Which
great.
I think is funny.
That's
I think
good.
she just didn't want us to be wallflowers. She wanted us to kind of go for things and be assertive and really follow our dreams. And my dad used to, of course, say, which I think a lot of parents have said to their kids, do the best you can.
Right.
And fine in our family was kind of a dirty word.
Oh,
like,
yes.
you did fine. That meant
God.
you're kind of average.
Yeah, right.
And whenever anybody says to me, you did fine on something, I kind of bristle.
Well, you look fine.
Oh yeah. I'm like, what? That's a bad word in my family. But I also think when I was starting out in my career that I had a lot of naysayers saying that, I wasn't really maybe glamorous enough to be on television, or I didn't have the skills. And I remember seeing this Kathy Boynton Cup after the head of CNN told me he never wanted to see me on the air again. One of the low points in my career, many low points. And I saw this cup and it said, "Don't let the turkeys get you down." So I always think about that because I think there are a lot of people who try to kind of cut you off at the knees.
There's a lot of turkeys.
But you have to have a lot of, confidence in yourself, and to thine own self be true has also been an important thing that's always been in my mind. Never give up.
I actually have 10 essential items, but let me choose 3 of them.
You can choose 5.
Okay, I'll go back to the classic items, the trench coat.
Right.
And I say that because you can wear it to the grocery store, you can wear it to the opera.
Right.
Classic blazer.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about the ubiquity today of jeans and a t-shirt, what better way to dress them up and what easier way than putting on a blazer?
A blazer.
How fantastic.
There you go.
And with a nod to jeans and denim, a good pair of dark wash jeans.
Dark for sure.
And the style that's best for most women is one that falls straight from the widest part of your hip, no flare, no taper.
Right, you showed a picture of that in your book.
Yes.
I like that, yeah.
And a classic black dress. Every woman needs one.
Definitely.
And I run into so many women who don't own one.
Right. Really?
Don't own one, absolutely not.
And a crisp white shirt.
That's on my list.
Oh, good.
Perfect. See, we're a team. We're a fashion. I actually just broke out in a kind of tingling sensation thinking I'm a fashion team with Marlo Thomas.
What are 5 daily and easy cleaning tips to keep your home fresh?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, that's a Martha question.
Well, if it's cool enough outside, open the doors and let the fresh air in. I think fresh air is very important. I don't like a lot of scents, so I don't have scented candles. I don't have cleaning products with scents in them. I like a fresh house, so none of that. And I vacuum a lot because I have 4 cats, 3 dogs, 20 canaries, and there would be probably some cat hair around. No, they don't shed a lot, but and the cats are very well groomed too. So with a lot of daily vacuuming, dusting if it needs it, and clean windows. Oh, clean windows are so important.
I know.
You know, we're sitting in an airy right here with you.
Yes.
And if you didn't have clean windows, you can see this amazing view.
I know.
Oh, it's so great.
I think one of my favorite sources is IKEA. I think that stylistically they're right on point, they're always right on trend, but you have to go there thinking, well, what could that be? In fact, we recently did a house for one of the founders of Facebook, and in their dining room, I found a chair at IKEA for $89 that we used, but we repainted it, and it came in black, and we did it in sort of this purple lavender chrome. And they look spectacular. And everybody who goes in there is like, well, where did you get these great chairs? And like, oh, I got those at IKEA, they're $89.
That's so great.